And then we got the Falcon, first Starforge unit here. And I like the Falcon. I think it's pretty good, but you do have to take into account how slow it is. Um, so I think I'll put it in the A tier. I think that's a pretty good spot for it. Um, Falcon, when you mass them up, they can annihilate any ground unit, really. Well, most ground units. Obviously, they'll struggle against some of the anti-air units, but they can do a lot of good damage and a lot of work once you get enough of them built up. You just have to make sure you play slow and get enough of them grouped up. You can't trickle them in one at a time. But other than that, I think they're a pretty solid unit, actually. So anyways, let's go to the flak turret here. This is the flak turret, and flak turret is similar to the turret here. I just think there's some things that can kind of do its job better to some degree. And it's just a defensive unit, and you can't really do much else with it. So for that reason, I think B is probably pretty good for the flak turret here. Um, I'm tempted to put it into the C tier just because it gets kind of owned by butterflies. But other than that, the flak turret does really well against everything else, air units, of course. So flak turret's pretty cool. I like the flak turret. I just wish it didn't get wrecked so hard by butterflies. All right, and then we got the advanced recall here. Advanced recall just got a buff, and I think advanced recall is pretty good now, but I'm not too sure. I think I got to keep them in the B tier. I think they're better than the flak turret, but they are just too slow, I think, in most matchups. But there are some matchups where they can do really well and excel in. So I like the potential of the advanced recall, but they're usually too slow for me to finish games with them. Oh, we're done with the music. Did the music just stop, or has that been off for a while? Let's get the music going again. My apologies for that. And I think we could do one or two more here before the ad break starts. So airship here. Airship is very strong anti-air for the tier 2 Starforge. And so I really like the airship, and I think I'll put that in the A tier as well. I think I'll put it ahead of the Falcon. I kind of debate between the two of those because once you get a lot of the airships, like if you go into a full airship war, airships can actually start to do decent damage to ground units. So I think airship is pretty good for that reason. All right, so we got the Mammoth next here, and I think the Mammoth is a pretty good unit. I kind of want to put it into the A tier. It's not something I see too often, and it's going to, struggle against butterflies and destroyers, of course. But I feel like the Mammoth is one of the better tank options, and especially for Starforge, your options are kind of limited in that regard. But if you're going into Starforge and they don't have butterflies and they're going into their Starforge, there can be some pretty good matchups for the Mammoth, I think. And so I think for that reason, I'll put it in the A tier. And it's got pretty good DPS too, actually, and range. I wish they had tanks with more range like that. I really like the range on it. Like I wish the Crusader had more range like that as well. Because otherwise they can be pretty big and clunky sometimes and hard to maneuver around. So next we'll go into the Butterfly here, and Butterfly I think is pretty good. It's really bad when it's really bad, and then it's really good when it's really good. So I almost want to put it into the B tier, but I think it's just better more often than not. So I think I'll put it into the A tier as well. It's going to struggle, of course, against any of the anti-air options, but it just does so well against bases and other big units that I just think it's a pretty solid choice. And then the Dragonfly, I've actually been kind of underwhelmed lately by the Dragonfly. I don't think it's bad by any means, but I feel like you just need a lot of Dragonflies in order to make a real big impact. So I think I'll put the Dragonfly into the B tier because you just kind of need too many, I think, to make a real big difference. And then the Steiner. Steiner is a pretty good unit, very fast, high DPS, squishy, but if you have some good units to tank up front for it, it can be really good. It could even catch your opponent off guard and do a base race, you know, and all that good stuff. So I almost want to put it into the S tier, but I think I have to put it in the A tier. I don't think it's quite good enough to go into the S tier. So I think I will leave it there. Next up, we'll do the Blink, Advanced Blink. And the Advanced Blink is a tough one. It's, again, one of those very polarizing units where it's very, very good where it's supposed to be very good, and then very bad everywhere else. So obviously it does very well against other big units, but I just find its DPS so abysmal when it's going up against anything other than a big unit. And so I have a hard time ranking this because it's just so good where it's supposed to be good, but then it's just terrible against everything else. And so obviously, you know, that's part of the game and part of the fun of the game, of course. And so I think I'll put it in A tier considering the recent nerf that it got. It's not quite as good up against the buildings anymore. That was also, you know, one of the best parts about the Advanced Blink is if you were struggling to pull off a win, you could just start blinking around with these guys and taking out bases like super quick. Because of that nerf, I think it drops them down here to A. Otherwise, I would almost put it into S tier. But it's still a very strong, solid unit for sure. And then next up, we have the Sniper. And Sniper is pretty interesting. I haven't seen too many people using it, but honestly, I still feel like it's actually one of the best units in the game, in my opinion. I don't know. It's dropped off a little bit compared to what I think it was at the start. Oh, thank you, Strategic. Appreciate that. I'll check that out after this, probably. And so, yeah, the Sniper, I think, is still a very, very strong unit. One of the best tier 3 options in the game. It just does so much damage and has so much range, and it can, you know, easily deal with things like the mortar and even the advanced destroyer and other things like that as well. So I very much like the Sniper. And we'll see how it compares to some of the other options here. But I think it's probably one of the better units in the game. Anytime I see snipers out, they seem to just wreck everything. Just started watching yesterday on this beta though. Yeah, dude, nice. Yeah, I think they just wreck everything for sure. I definitely agree with that. But yeah, I hope you're having fun with this beta. I definitely am, and definitely thank you for stopping by and checking out my stream here. But yeah, Sniper, super awesome. I love the Sniper. And Sniper is pretty much all I played. So if any of you guys early on in the beta, if you guys want to see more Sniper gameplay, go check out my first 3 days of games, and it was pretty much just all Sniper. It was crazy. That's you know, one of the main units that got me up to top ace for sure. All thanks to the Sniper. And the other unit that I would have to thank my top ace for is the Behemoth. And Behemoth just got a little bit of a nerf as well, but I think I still got to keep Behemoth in the S tier. And I think I'll put the Behemoth a little bit ahead of the Sniper just for the fact that it can kind of fit into more compositions. Being a matter-only unit, it can take over for whatever core slot you had. And Behemoth is just nuts. It does good damage, has good DPS, and it's super tanky, and it's matter-only. So the great thing about that is it takes 2 destroyers to one-shot a Behemoth, to one-shot one Behemoth, and the destroyers are going to cost energy, of course. So you're only spending matter, and you're forcing your opponent to spend energy. And so then they might have an answer to your Behemoth, but then, you know, what answer are they going to have against everything else? So it's just such a good unit, in my opinion. All right, and so next we will do the advanced bot here. I really like the advanced bot, but it is another polarizing unit where it does extremely well against air units, but it struggles against the ground units. And so you got to be careful with how you use that. And so then next up, we got here the Assault Bot. Assault Bot is a super cool and fun unit to use. And I think it's pretty good. I think I got to put this in the A tier as well. I guess I didn't like fully finish talking about the advanced bot. So The advanced spot is just really good against air units, most air units, and really bad against ground units. And I think that's pretty much about all I have to say about it. But so I think it's worthy of an A tier, though, just because, you know, if you're putting it in your deck, it's because you want to counter those air units, and it's going to do that very well. So, and then the assault bot, very cool, a lot of fun. I think I would put this, I almost want to put it into S tier, honestly, but I think I got to put it at the top of A tier here. Again, because it's a matter-only unit, I really like the matter-only units. It forces your opponent to, well, it usually will force your opponent to spend energy to try to counter your matter-only unit, which they don't always have to do otherwise. So I think it's strong for that reason alone. But then also we know that the assault bot, of course, has really high DPS. They can move pretty fast, and they can just absolutely shred, you know, bases and stuff like that. So very cool unit, very fun, pretty good, just because of it being matter only. And then we got the heavy ballista, and you know, unfortunately, I've been underwhelmed by the heavy ballista as well. I'm trying to make it work right now, though. Right before this tier list, I was playing some games with the heavy ballista, trying to make it work, and I think there might be some potential for it, but the highest I could give it right now is a B, but I think it's better as a C. It just doesn't perform well enough against too many different options, and for the most part, I think the blaster is probably going to be better. So a little spoiler alert there for you guys. But yeah, it's just a bit underwhelming compared to a lot of the other options. And then we got the Gargantua, and Gargantua is another awesome, fun unit, and I think it's pretty good as well. I almost want to do S tier for it. Might have to put it in at like the top of A. I haven't used the Gargantua too much myself yet, because it's just too big and clunky for me. I find it difficult to use, but if you know how to use it right, I think it can do really well. It's got to be S tier. Yeah, I haven't seen like too many people running it, but you know, I haven't seen too many people running the sniper either. But I think it is really good. It got a little bit of a nerf. So I think I'll do that. I'll put it at the bottom of S tier for now, and we'll see where everything else goes. But yeah, it's just a very solid all-around unit, and it can actually hold up pretty well against the anti-big units as well, like the destroyers. And so I think it's really good just for that alone, because it's one of the few big units that can actually hold up well against the destroyer. Look in the game counters, and it beats every unit except like 4. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I might have to try out the Gargantua some more. I just struggle with it being so slow, and with how big it is. I don't know. I think that's more so my problem, but I know I've seen a lot of people use it very well. So I think I'm pretty happy with S tier there for it. All right, and then the Advanced Mortar. Advanced Mortar, I haven't really seen too much yet. It got a bit of a buff recently. I think the buff is pretty good, and I think the Advanced Mortar should be pretty good, but I still haven't seen too many people using it, so I'm a little surprised by that. But, you know, there's just so many units, I think, that people just haven't really gotten around to using some of them. So, and I think the Mortar is just so much better because the regular Mortar, of course, is a tier 2 unit. So, you know, obviously the Advanced Mortar is a bit more all around as it can shoot up and down, but it's a heavy investment for the Advanced Mortar, I think, going into tier 3 when you can just get a mortar and some anti-air and do pretty well there. So for that, I think I'll put it into the A tier. I almost want to put it into B tier, but I think it's got potential. I think people just haven't fully given it enough of a chance yet. I think people haven't really fully figured it out yet. The other issue with Advanced Mortar is Cap Bus. Yeah, exactly. Cap Bus is definitely pretty popular, I'd say, and very strong, of course. So it's not going to do too well, obviously, against Cap Bus. And then next up, we have the Blaster, and I think I got to put the Blaster into S tier. I almost want to put the Blaster ahead of Gargantua and Sniper. I think I prefer the Blaster, so I think I'll put that ahead of that there. And I'm tempted to put it ahead of the Sniper as well. I'm very biased for the Sniper because it's one of the main units that got me into top Ace, so I'm definitely biased towards the Sniper. So I think I'll put the Blaster ahead of the Sniper, just taking my bias into consideration there. But yeah, I think Sniper is definitely extremely good. But Blaster, just an all-around extremely good unit with crazy DPS. It's getting a slight nerf tomorrow, so but I'm honestly not sure that's going to be too much of a nerf for the Blaster. I think the Blaster will continue to be very good, and I think it's definitely better than the Advanced Mortar because it's very similar in what it can do, except it's got the extra mobility, and it doesn't have to set up to fire back at people. Sniper is extremely good as long as you don't get surrounded and can deal with their air. The Sniper is a win condition. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, that's why I like the Blaster too, though, because it can deal with a lot of air units. I actually won a game the other day against Cat Bus. My opponent went straight for the Cat Bus, and the Blasters were actually able to hold up against the Cat Bus. They had enough DPS to take down the Cat Bus, which was pretty surprising to me. But that's how strong they are, I think. So, yeah. Yeah, and Blaster can also pair with other Foundry units, which does really well in that regard, for sure. All right, and then the Cat Bus here. Cat Bus, obviously very, very good. Very, very strong. I think I got to put Cat Bus in the S tier as well. So this is our first advanced Starforge, tier 3 Starforge unit. And so we'll see how this compares to the rest of them. But yeah, Cat Bus, I think for sure deserves the S tier. Very strong unit right now, very difficult to deal with unless you have those specific counters in your deck to it. And then even then, it still might be pretty difficult. They're just good at destroying pretty much all ground units. So as long as you can protect the Cat Bus from something like the Valkyrie and things of that nature, the Cat Bus is going to do extremely well. It's incredibly meta-defining. You need to respect it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those units that is also common enough that you definitely need to have an answer to it, because there's usually more people running it than not. So, and if you don't have a good answer to it, then you're in big trouble. You're going to lose a lot of games because you're going to see the Cat Bus a lot of games. So, advanced Blink, Garga, Valk, and Airship are its only counters. And Butterfly. Okay. I can't snooze this one either. So it looks like we got another ad break coming up here. Hopefully I can blitz through this a little bit here. So yeah, let's see if we can keep moving. We got the Locust next here, and I think the Locust is also pretty good. I would definitely have to put this under the Cat Bus, and I almost want to put it into the A tier. You can definitely catch people off guard with the Locust and how fast it is and how much damage it can do. But there are a lot more answers to it. You got the Blaster, which is very common. Obviously, the Advanced Mortar can deal with it pretty well. So I feel like there's more options to deal with the Locust, and so I think for that reason I might put it into the A tier here. Predators are coming into the Metamore. They're mostly supplanted by the Shade. Yeah, I think there's just better options than the Locust. And so I think A tier is still fine, though, because they can still be pretty good, I think, and catch your opponent off guard. So I think they're fine in the A tier. And then we have the Predator, which, again, is another polarizing unit. It's extremely good against most air units, but then not so good against ground units. And the only thing that would hold the Predator back from making it to the top here, I think, is the Cat Bus, pretty much. Predator is not going to do too well against the Cat Bus, but it's going to do pretty darn well against everything else. And so I almost don't even want to put it into the A tier, just because there's just a lot of other options to counter units, air units with, and a lot of other options that are going to also deal with the Cat Bus. So I think I'll put the Predator in B tier, even though it can excel really well in certain decks and in certain matchups. I think that's just more matchup dependent, though. So yeah, tier 3 anti-air too. So yeah, I think that does kind of hold it back a little bit for sure. All right, and then the Valkyrie. I really like the Valkyrie. That's, again, another unit that helped me get to top ace. I think the Valkyrie is very good and strong. I think for myself, like I would have no problem put it in the S tier, but I haven't seen too many people running the Valkyrie, honestly. But I think it can be really good if you build your deck around it, and it will definitely shut down all air units. And so I think I want to put it into the S tier just because of how easily it'll shut down air units and kind of deter your opponent from making any air units. Most likely, if they see you going into Valkyrie, they just won't bother with air units because it's just that strong. Valk is very good, but the problem is air is becoming kind of uncommon. Yeah, exactly. But if you're going up against Shades and Catbuses a lot and you're having trouble with them, I would highly recommend trying the Valkyrie because the nice thing about the Valkyrie is just how fast it is, and it can chase some of those units down. And the problem I have with a lot of the air units is they'll hide their air units off the map where you can't reach them with your ground. And so it's just really nice to have the Valkyrie be able to easily chase them down. It is the air counter. Yep, exactly. So now we got the artillery, and I really like the artillery. I think it's pretty good, but I think I'll probably put that into the A tier. I think it's pretty strong for the most part, but I don't think it quite makes it into the S tier for me. Definitely would not be B tier or anything, but I think I might even put it ahead of the Locust. There's some good deck combos I think that you can pull off with the artillery. It's not necessarily good on its own, but if you pair it up with Advanced Destroyer or something like that, can be pretty devastating. And it's something that can kind of catch your opponent off guard as well. Most people aren't quite ready for the artillery. And it's got really good range too, actually. So I really like the artillery. I think it's pretty good. A is a good spot for it. And then the Bulwark. The Bulwark is a very interesting unit because technically it doesn't have a lot of hard counters to it, but I do find its DPS a bit lacking, and it is tanky, but its DPS is lacking and it's very slow moving. So I'm kind of torn between A and B. I definitely don't think it's the worst unit in the game. I've made it work pretty well. I feel like I've made it work pretty well, and I think I've seen a few other people make it work pretty well. I don't think it's probably worth the A tier, worthy of the A tier, especially when you compare it to a lot of these other options. But I think it can definitely catch people off guard. A lot of people underestimate the unit, and it can be stronger than what they think, and so you can just catch people out with it. So I think B tier is a pretty good spot for it. But I can see a lot of people not liking the Bulwark. But I think it's got its place. It's got its uses. And then we got the Advanced Destroyer. And Advanced Destroyer is another one of my favorite units. I really like this unit. It's a lot of fun. I think it's really good. I think I got to put it into the S tier. And I think I would put it ahead of the Valkyrie. But it's pretty close. Honestly, like all three of these are very close. They're obviously going to go into very different decks and whatnot. So, but man, I love the Advanced Destroyer. It can take anything out in the blink of an eye. It's got really good range. So it's kind of similar to like the Sniper. It can just one-shot so many things. It can actually be pretty good DPS too overall. If you have a good tanky like frontline and whatnot, this thing can just keep pumping out tons of damage and sniping those units in the back line. So really like it for its versatility there. And then we got the Shade. And I've just been liking the Shade more and more as I continue to use it and play with it and try it out and see other people using it more and more lately. So I think I got to put Shade into the S tier as well. It's going to struggle against a lot of different things like the Blaster and Advanced Mortar, of course, Predator, things of that nature. But usually you can kind of work around it, and it's so fast that you can either just go straight to your opponent's base and take out their workers super quick, or you can just kind of go in and out of fights getting, you know, kind of a sneak attack on your opponent's army, you know, as they try to chase it down with whatever anti-air they have, you know. So I think the Shade is really strong for that reason. And I almost want to put it up even higher over the Valkyrie and maybe even over Kappa's and Advanced Destroyer. Honestly, I don't know. All four of these I think are very close. I think these three for sure are very close. But I think they just kind of fit different decks. So it kind of just depends. And so I think I'm pretty happy with this list actually overall. Last but not least, I guess, we got the Kraken, the one you've all been waiting for. And no, I'm not. Is there a way to add? Does that work? We're gonna do Kraken. So I had to do it. I had to make a special tier just for the Kraken. I love the Kraken. It's a ton of fun. I made a YouTube video about the Kraken recently, so please check that out. And I actually managed to get a win with the Kraken in top ace, believe it or not. So it is possible. But yeah, it's too hard to get to it. And you pretty much just have to stalemate the game in order to get into the Kraken. And so at that point, if you are getting a win with the Kraken, you probably could have won without it. So, so yeah, I think that's all there is to say about the Kraken, really. But it's a super awesome unit. I love that it's in the game. I think it's fun. So it's a cool little challenge. Cool little challenge to try to get Kraken.